With help from Margaret Harding McGill, John Hendel and Michael Stratford. Details on dismantling net neutrality. Chairman Ajit Pai's draft order repealing the Obama-era net neutrality regulations will be publicly posted today, but senior FCC officials offered some insight into his plans Tuesday. Some things to look for. Story continued below. How the FCC will handle transparency. Pai would alter the existing transparency rules to require that internet service providers disclose practices on blocking, throttling and prioritization of web traffic. The FCC and the Federal Trade Commission can enforce those rules, with the FTC able to act if the practices are anti-competitive or anti-consumer, the FCC says. But that's already raised alarms with supporters of the current rules. Public Knowledge Senior Vice President Harold Feld points out that FTC enforcement is on a case-by-case basis, which means you only find out what the line is by going over the line. He added, that guarantees there will be harmful outcomes because only if there are harmful outcomes can the FTC act. The costs and benefits of bright line rules. The chairman's office found few benefits to rules against blocking, throttling and paid prioritization, and plenty of problems. An economic analysis suggests getting rid of the ban on paid prioritization could decrease consumer prices, as well as speed innovative offerings, FCC officials said. So the ongoing fight about the economic impact of the current rules is likely to continue, preempting state laws. Pai doesn't want to repeal rules at the federal level, only to have state rules on net neutrality crop up and undermine the deregulation. The order concludes that broadband is an interstate information service, and as such, it should be governed by a federal policy and not a patchwork of state and local requirements. This is a big issue for internet service providers, especially after state broadband privacy bills took off earlier this year, following Congress revoking an FCC privacy rule. Margaret reports, the man behind the term speaks out. Tim Wu, a Columbia University law professor who helped coin the term net neutrality, warned of the impact of the FCC's actions. New FCC rules give Comcast Verizon full censorial powers over internet akin to Chinese government, he tweeted. Visualizing net neutrality. Pro Data Point has a graphic detailing the history of the net neutrality battle as well as changes online platforms and content providers would face if the rules are repealed. Check it out here. And in case you missed it, watch Margaret's explainer on the topic, with illustrations by Pulitzer Prize-winning Politico cartoonist Matt Walker. Questions emerged on what some see as conflicting policy moves. Some members of the tech and telecom industries were puzzled about the mixed messages from the Trump administration, following the DOJ's decision on Monday to challenge the Time Warner merger in a move it framed as protecting consumers. The FCC should heed the warning of the Department of Justice, who issued a statement in favor of competition and a warning against the power of consolidation. INCOMPAS CEO Chip Pickering, a former Republican congressman, said in a statement. In contrast to the FCC, the DOJ said AT and Comcast have the means and motives to harm the development of streaming video in order to protect their broadband and content monopolies. A very net neutrality holiday activists committed to defending the rules are planning to rest easy over the upcoming holiday season, with a number of protests planned at Verizon stores across the country. On December 7, representatives of Demand Progress, Fight for the Future and Free Press plan to march at Verizon stores in cities including New York, Boston and San Francisco, visiting lawmakers' offices in some of these locations. Verizon stores were chosen as activists' targets given Pai's previous work as a lawyer for the telecom giant and because of the company's efforts to push back against net neutrality rules. Investigating fake comments. New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman on Tuesday shared a Medium post about his investigation into fake net neutrality comments submitted to the FCC, and alleged that the agency has shut down numerous requests for additional information. I encourage the FCC to reconsider its refusal to assist in my office's law enforcement investigation to identify and hold accountable those who illegally misused so many New Yorkers' identities to corrupt the public comment process, he writes. The FCC did not immediately respond to a request for comment after regular business hours. Good Wednesday morning and welcome to Morning Tech, where we're thankful for the MT community and wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Send your tech and telecom tips to ljoe@politico.com and at listjoe. Catch the rest of the team's contact info after quick downloads. Got an event for MT's tech calendar? Email us the details at techcalendar@politicopro.com. Programming note: Morning Tech will not publish from November 23rd to November 26th. Our next Morning Tech newsletter will publish on November 27th. Please continue to follow pro-technology issues here. Mark your calendar. Politico is partnering with women-owned businesses in the D.C. metro area to offer a full week of exclusive perks in conjunction with the 5th Annual Women Rule Summit. Join the fun at participating businesses during Women Rule Week, November 27th to December the 1st for exclusive deals, and tweet 5 times using Women Rule for a chance to win 2 free tickets to the summit on December 5th. Listen to the latest Women Rule podcast featuring glamour editor-in-chief Cindy live here. Setting Twilight Towers free for 5G, the FCC will also take up a wireless infrastructure proposal addressing what have become known as Twilight Towers, built between 2001 and 2005 and facing regulatory limbo due to a lack of historic review on account of no clear guidance from the Commission. Without a rule change, the towers can't be used to install equipment to create a 5G network. Republican FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr, who leads wireless infrastructure efforts for PI, called the public notice a definitive solution that would open up potentially thousands of existing towers for the deployment of new wireless facilities. The plan would treat the Twilight Towers like old towers, not needing such review. Fellow GOP Commissioner Mike O'Reilly said he hopes the plan is sufficiently robust to allow collocations on towers that have been unnecessarily stuck in regulatory purgatory. The Wireless Infrastructure Association is encouraged and said the limbo is limiting its infrastructure efforts. ECI's algorithms. The House Energy and Commerce Committee's Telecom Subcommittee has set a 10 a.m. start time on November 29 for its hearing on companies' use of algorithms. The hearing will occur as questions mount about the lack of transparency on how algorithms from tech giants like Facebook and Google work to target users and serve up ads and content. REDL when you are. After a tumultuous back and forth over his confirmation in the Senate, former House EC counsel David Redall was officially sworn in as NTIA administrator on Tuesday. This position helps determine policies for spectrum allocation, broadband access and IoT adoption. Apple of my iPhone. Apple defended its removal of VPNs from the company's App Store in China, arguing that its presence in the country is helping to support the free flow of information. In a letter responding to concerns from Sense. Patrick Leahy, DVT, and Ted Cruz, Texas. We are convinced that Apple can best promote fundamental rights, including the right of free expression, by being engaged even where we may disagree with a particular country's law. Cynthia Hogan, the company's vice president of public policy in the Americas, writes. She said Apple removed certain VPN operators because they were not in compliance with Chinese law. Leahy and Cruz had questioned these removals and noted that VPNs enable Internet users to access the uncensored version of the Internet, which may include sites that are blocked by China's policies. Silicon Valley MUSTREADS. Android's omnipresent location tracking. Since the beginning of 2017, Android phones have been collecting the addresses of nearby cellular towers, even when location services are disabled, and sending that data back to Google, Quartz reports. The result is that Google, the unit of Alphabet behind Android, has access to data about individuals' locations and their movements that go far beyond the reasonable consumer expectation of privacy. Russia regulators hit back at Google. The Russian telecom regulator said Tuesday that it will retaliate against Google if the search giant lowers the search ranking of the Kremlin-backed news outlets RT and Sputnik, escalating a tense back and forth over Russian news coverage that has entangled American news bureaus abroad and could lead Moscow to enact further censorship rules, The Washington Post reports. Uber hid massive hackers stole the personal data of 57 million customers and drivers from Uber Technologies Inc., a massive breach that the company concealed for more than a year, Bloomberg reports. Compromised data from the October 2016 attack included names, email addresses and phone numbers of 50 million Uber riders around the world, the company told Bloomberg on Tuesday. The personal information of about 7 million drivers was accessed as well, including some 600,000 U.S. drivers' license numbers. TechCrunch NY Schneiderman's office has opened an investigation into the incident. Transitions. Meg Whitman, CEO of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, is stepping down from the position effective early next year, Stephen reports. Antonio Neri, who's currently president of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, is due to take over the role. Brett Taylor has been named the president and chief product officer of Salesforce, per release. Alex Dayon has been named president and chief strategy officer. Brent Colburn, the vice president for communications at the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative and a former Obama administration official, has been named Princeton University's vice president for communications and public affairs. Quick downloads. Next up for NASA, Wired goes behind the scenes as the space agency tests the most powerful rocket ever. More possible Russia trouble for Facebook. Russia may prevent Facebook from working within the country if the company does not comply with its laws on data storage, according to a Russian official, BuzzFeed reports. Tech gives Wall Street a boost. U.S. stocks jumped on Tuesday, pushing all three major indexes to record closing highs, led by gains in this year's top-performing technology sector, Reuters reports. Apple AV research by Apple, computer scientists on how self-driving cars can better spot cyclists and pedestrians while using fewer sensors, has been posted online, in what appears to be the company's first publicly disclosed paper on autonomous vehicles, Reuters reports. Tips, comments, suggestions, send them along via email to our team: Eric Engelman at Politico.com, at Eris Engelman, Angela Greilinkeen at Politico.com, at Greilinkeen, Nancy Scola at Politico.com, at Nancy Scola, Margaret Harding McGill MMC at Politico.com, at Margaret McGill, Ashley Gold at Politico.com, at Ashley Gold, Stephen Overly at Politico.com, at Stephen Overly, John Hendel at Politico.com. At John Hendel and Lee Joe at Politico.com, at List Joe.